Hello everyone, welcome back to Edubbey Dynamic Solution. Today we'll be treating one of our Cambridge assessment, that is their past question on business study. And we are just to answer this paper one short answer and data response. So there's no need of a lot of explanation here. Just this one is just paper one. Seems like the objective theory, but this one you just have to give the short answer to the question. Now let us move forward to what we have inside there. Question one. We have the question one here. Question one says HCB manufactures cars in country X. It has 200 employees working in its factory. The business has changed its method of production due to new technology. HCB's managing director is considering ways to become more ethical. She is aware that other businesses in country X have started to import cars. The interest rate in the country X has increased due to rising inflation. Of course, this briefly summary of HCB manufacture will automatically depend on what you are going to answer here, and you are going to apply where necessary. You are going to refer to this summary when answering the question. Now let's move to question 1A. They said you should define an inflation. What do you understand by inflation? Let us define inflation here. Let us add text. An inflation just let us say inflation can be what? Can be defined as an increase in the general price level of goods and services over a period of time. Make sure you put this over a period of time in order to have your full mark. Let's reduce this to maximize our space. Goods, this is goods, and this is supposed to have a space over a period of time. That is the definition for inflation. Now, question 1B says you should identify two ways the technology could change production method. According to what we just read out now. Now they said you should identify two ways you think technology can actually change the production method. Of course, we have to list out the two ways here. Not only two, we have more, but you are told to just identify two ways in this particular question. Now let's add text to put the two ways you think should be here. Of course, when using technology, it will produce high or what? Or faster output. High or faster output. We're told to just identify here and not to explain. So we have high or faster output when using technology as a production method. Another way that we have is it gives us better quality, more accurate goods, and also reduce waste. Now let's add the text. Let's add the text, drag it here. Better quality, better quality or more accurate products. And it also reduce waste when using technology in production method. We also have automation, that is, it will become capital intensive, and also wide new products can also be made. Now let's move to the next question here. Our C. We have our C. They said you should outline 2 ways HEB could be more ethical. How do you think the company could be more ethical? Number one way that can be used is by paying fair wages to their what? To their 200 employees according to the question. Now let us add it. Let us add it. It's not supposed to be here. We drag. This is the first way, paying fair wages. Fair wages to what? To his 200 employees. These 200 employees is the application of the summary they gave us before we start this question. Now another way that can be choose for HCB before they become more ethical is also ensuring fair working conditions for their employee within the factory. Now let us write that one out. Paying what? They should also ensure fair working condition. Ensure fair working conditions for employees within the factory. Within the factory. Now, we have outlined the 2 ways. What other ways do you think HCB could be more ethical in? Of course, they can pay fair price to suppliers by not owing them money, and they can also be environmentally friendly, charge consumer fair prices, etc. This is within etc. Now let's move to the next question here. We have 1D. We were asked to explain 2 ways HCB could be more affected by an increase in the interest rate in country X according to what we read. We were told that there is an increase in interest rate in country X. Now you have to mention 2 ways and we have to explain it. Of course, an increase in the interest rate can cause an increase in the cost of their borrowing. Now that is the first way. Let's add the text. The first way is what? Increased cost of borrowing. Increased cost of borrowing. Borrowing or finance. Borrowing or finance. Now, how could you explain this as how the interest rate can be affected here? Of course, there will be less cash or fund. Let us write this out as an explanation. Let us write this out. Let's write it. Drag your text here. There will be what? There will be less there will be less cash or funds to spend on other areas of the business. Yes, when there is an increase rate in the country X, it can affect the HEB because the increase of the cost of borrowing or finance will also be a disadvantage to them. And the explanation will be less cash or fund to spend on other areas of the business. Now, what other ways do you think an increase in interest rates can affect HCB's company? Of course, we also have decreased demand or fewer sales. What did I say? Decrease demand or fewer sales. Then how does that affect them? Let's type this one first. Decrease demand or what? Or fewer sales. Now, how does this affect the company? How does it affect the company? The company producing the cars. The company produce the cars. It could lead to lower what? It could lead to lower revenue. Leads to lower revenue from the companies. Let us use the HCB as an application. HCB's company, lower revenue from the HCB's company. Now we move to the next questions here. We have the justification to what we have done. Do you think manufacturing business will always benefit from the introduction of import tariff? What do you know about tariff? Of course, that should be in your textbook or syllabus. It is a tax imposed on import and export goods. Now, how can you explain this import tariff in order to justify your answer? Let us bring out some points here. Let's bring out some points. Higher cost. You can have higher cost of what? Of importing raw materials. Which can actually lead to what? Which can lead to higher prices, and it will lower the profit margin. Let's pick another point here before we can justify our answer about the benefit of introducing an import tariffs. Of course, it may also increase the price. It increase the price of imported finished goods. It increases the price of imported finished goods, which make them more expensive. Which makes them more what? More expensive. Now, you have to explain further more than this. Of course, other country may also introduce import tariff, which make it difficult for the company to export their goods to the company. And the business might even have higher cost if they are importing raw material, which could lead to an increase in price, as we have written here. Now let us move to the next question that we have here. We have question 2A. I think we are dealing with another company here. We have WFH. WFH produces arts and sells them to a mass market. It holds a high level of inventory. The managing director is concerned about the liquidity of the business and has been analyzing WFH's financial statement. An extract is shown in table 2.1, the one we are seeing now. The managing director thinks that the business might fail. Other stakeholders groups might also be interested in WFH's financial statement. Now let us look at this table 2.1 given to us according to the question. We have the extract from WFH financial statement in $1,000. You have the current assets for 2021 and 2022, the inventory, trade receivables, cash, current liability, and the profit or loss. Now, what is our question here? We were told to identify two possible causes of business failure. Why do you think some business do fail? Of course, the number one causes of business failure is poor planning. Poor what? Poor planning. Poor planning. You were just told to identify. Of course, when you did not plan what you want to do in a business, or you have lack of objectives, some business fail due to poor planning. What other thing do you think can cause a business to fail? Of course, we have over expansion. Let's put the text here also. Over what? Over expansion. That is, the business expand too quickly without any proper planning or laying down any objectives. Now, that is the two possible causes that can cause a business to fail. Of course, we have more than two. We still have poor marketing, economic influences, lack of sales, poor management skills, and also cash flow problems. Now let's move to question 1. No, we have the question B. We are dealing with question 2B now. Calculate WFH acid text ratio for 2022. We are asked to show our workings here and put the final answer before we can get our 2 mark. Now let's go to our table. We were told to find the acid test ratio. Now, what is the formula for our acid test ratio? Of course, we have it to be the current asset minus inventory, our inventory divided by current liabilities. Let's use it in liabilities and the current assets. Yes, that is our formula for acid test ratios. Now, for us to show our calculation here, now we have to show the calculation. Let's drag the formula here. Let's reduce the size to contain our calculation. This is our formula for acid test ratio. Now, what is our current asset in this question for 2022? We have $50,000. Let's put it here in order for us to show the workings. For us to show the workings, we have $50,000. We have $50,000. Now what is our inventory? No, we are subtracting our inventory from the current asset. Our inventory here is what? For 2022, we have $30,000. We have $30,000, $30,000. Now divided by what? Our current liabilities. Let's check our current liability here. For 2022, we have $40,000. We have $40,000. $40,000. Now, this will give us what? This current asset minus inventory will be $30,000. $30,000 divided by what? No, $20,000. Of course, 50 minus 30 is 20. $20,000 divided by what? Divided by $40,000. I think 10 is missing here. Now, what should be our answer? Of course, our answer should be in ratio. Our answer should be in ratio. When we are dealing with anything ratio, we should put our answer in ratio. Now that we have shown our workings to them, in order for the examiner to know what we are really doing, we have to put our final answer here. We want to put our final answer here in order to have our full mark. Now let's put our answer here in front of the final answer. Dividing this $40,000 by $20,000, your answer should be in form of 0.5 ratio 1. 0.5 ratio 1. That's our final answer. Now let us move to the next question here, which is 2C. Here also we are told to identify 4 reasons why business hold inventory. Why do you think most companies held their inventory? Now the first reason here is to maintain production. To maintain what? To maintain their production, to maintain the productivity. Now let us type this out. To maintain production. The second point is also to reduce transport cost. When buying goods little, it can also cost a lot of transport for the company. But when it is being bought in bulk, of course, it will reduce the transport cost. Now let us add test for reason 2. To what? To reduce transport cost. To reduce transport cost. Now, another reasons for a company to hold inventory rather is to what? To meet seasonal changes in demand. To meet seasonal changes in demand. To meet seasonal changes in demand of the consumer. You can just leave it like this. And another reason is what? Another reason is to benefit from economies of scales, to benefit from economic of, scales. Now let us drag this to our reason. For we were told to just identify and not given an explanation. To benefit, from economic of sales. Economics of scales. Yes, that's right. And the economic of scale is where the advantages is being reaped by the company when their production becomes more efficient. Now let us move to the next question here. I think we have identified the four reasons to hold an inventory. Of course, that is not all. We also have them holding their inventory in order to benefit from special offers or to meet other high demand. Now moving to question 2D here. Moving to question 2D, the question 2D says we should explain why the following two stakeholders group might be interested in WFH financial statement. We have employees and we also have suppliers. Why do you think an employee will have interest in WFH financial statements? Of course, for an employee, let us write the explanation before we start using words. The employee. Let's start with the employee. Now, an employee will try to know, let's say to know if they will receive what? To receive, if they will receive wage payment on time. That is the first reason for an employee to be interested in the financial statement of WFH. Of course, what is now the explanation of them receiving wage payment on time? Of course, if there is less cash in the business, they might not be able to cover their basic need or standard of living. Let's type. In order to get your full mark after saying the points, you have to explain if there is less cash, in the business, they might not be able to cover their what? They might not be able to meet, let's say to meet their basic needs. Okay, let's stop here. Now let's move to the suppliers. Why does supplier that is supplying products for a company will also be interested in their financial statement rather? Of course, they are interested in it in order to know the current level of their stocks, that is their goods, to know the current level of their stocks or debt. Of course, when you have not sold goods, you can also have it as your debt. Of course, it's help the supplier Let's add the text to put the explanation, here. How does this, the current level of debt, how does this interest the suppliers? It helps them to decide, it helps them to decide, whether to give extend trade, trade credit for materials, needed for the product. And remember, we are dealing with art here. You have to put it as your application. All this should also start with capital. Help them to decide whether to give extend trade credit for material. When the supplier sees the level of debt, when the supplier sees the level of debt of the factory or the company, it gave them the decision to make. It can also help to assess the level of their sales, if it is high or low, which may lead to additional or fewer orders. Now we move to question 2E. Here we have question 2E. Let's see what is in there also. Do you think it is always better for a business to sell to a mass market? Justify your answer. Of course, this question is related to mass marketing or niche marketing. Business in the mass market may benefit from economies of scale, which can reduce average cost, as I explained earlier. Now, how does this better for a business when selling to a mass market? Of course, just let us write some points out here for better explanation. Mass market is better for a business because of what? Because it may lead to high sales, because it may lead to high sales. It may lead to high sales or customers, and also increase revenue. That's the first point of using mass market. Another point is high levels of competition, which may mean to have lower prices. Of course, when dealing with mass markets, you will have a lot of competitor. Let's write that out also. Let's write this out. Just let us put it somewhere around here. High level of competitor, which may lead to reduction in price. Now, we also have the justification to be the reduction of average cost, as I said earlier. Also, niche markets can also be better as business operate in a mass market because of the lower average cost. Now let us move to the next question here. We have question 3. We move to another company here named AH. AH is an insurance business. It operates in a competitive market. AH has 1,000 employees, including 50 supervisors. The supervisors use an autocratic leadership style. What do you understand by autocratic leadership style? Of course, the director or the manager make all the decision with little or no advice from the employees. AH currently has a 5% market share and is planning to take over a competitor. The managing director is considering how to communicate with AH's employee about the takeover, that is the merger. There are many sources of finance available to fund the business growth. Now, the question 3A says we should identify two responsibility of supervisors. Now, what are the responsibility of the supervisors? Of course, the first responsibility of a supervisor is to provide reports to the manager. To provide what? Let us write it out. To provide reports or feedbacks to the manager. That is one of the responsibility of a supervisor. Another responsibility is also making sure an employee carries out their tasks. Let's put it in our second responsibility to get our full mark. Ensure employees carry out their task. Of course, these are not the two responsibility of a supervisor. We also have the monitoring of the quality of work, giving out tasks to employee, and even check whether the workers are being efficient for the work being given or the tasks being given. Now, question 3B says we should identify two methods of written communication. Of course, we have different type of communication. There is oral, there is written, and there is also visual communication. Now, we were told to identify only two methods of written communication here. Of course, the first one is a letter. First method of written communication is what? Letter. Can you tell me another one method of written communication after letter? We also have a memo, that is a short notice. We have a memo. Of course, that is not all. That is not all the method of written communication we have, but we have identified the two given to us according to the question. We still have notice board, we have email, we have newsletters, we have billboards or posters, etc. Now let us move to the next question. Question C says we should outline the two benefits to AH of taking over a competitors. What benefit do you think AH will gain in taking over a competitor? The first point is the increase in their market share from 5%. Of course, the 5% is an application because the company has 5%. So when they take over a competitor, they are likely to increase their market shares. Now let us write it out. Increase in market share from 5%, from 5%. Yes, the increase in market share from 5%. That is the first benefit to company. Now, the second benefit is to gain brand name of the competitors. Let us put the text. To gain brand name of the competitors. Gain the brand name of the competitor. We're just two. We're told to outline to gain the brand name of the competitors. Now let us move to the next question here. We also have more. That is not the only two benefits to while taking over a competitor. Of course, we can also see protection from risk of takeover. Gaining skills from other businesses is also there. Now to the next question, we have 3D. We were told to explain one advantage and one disadvantage to of its supervisor using an autocratic leadership style. What is an advantage of using an autocratic leadership style by supervisor? Of course, when making the decision by themselves, what do you think can be an advantage and what do you think can be a disadvantage to them? One of the advantages is quick and faster decision. Quick or faster decision. Faster decision making. Of course, when the supervisor is using an autocratic leadership style, the decision will be making faster when there is no idea from any employee. Let us put an explanation here on the quick decision making. It helps them to respond to opportunity sooner. Yes, it helps them to respond to opportunity when there is no need to ask for any opinion from an employee. Now, what do you think can be what do you think can be the advantages or the disadvantages rather? What do you think can be the disadvantages of using an autocratic leadership style? Now, the first one is what? Supervisors have less time to focus on other tasks. Of course, when making the decision by themselves, they will have less time to focus on other tasks. Let's put that down. No, this is the space for disadvantages. Space for disadvantages. Having lesser time to focus on other tasks. Of course, it will lead to what? When the supervisor doesn't have time to focus on other tasks, it will lead to lower productivity because the employees are closely monitored. It will lead to lower productivity. Now moving to question 3E here, we were told to explain two sources of finance which could be used to fund business growth. And which source of finance would be the best to use? You have to justify your answer. The first sources that can be used for business growth is loan, bank loan, bank loan. A bank loan can be used while growing a business. And when we are dealing with bank loan, it can be received at once. It also have long time of repayment period. Let us just write the key points under the bank loan. Yes, we have received at once, received at once, long time repayment, long time repayment. Yes, let us stop here. Long time repayment is also there. And another source of finance that can be used is shares to the public, selling of shares to the public. Let's put it here. Selling of shares, selling shares to the public, selling shares to the public. Of course, in selling shares to the public also, the money from it can also be used to fund a business. There is no need to repay, no repayment, no repayment, selling shares, no repayment. It can also be unwanted assets, selling of unwanted assets, selling of unwanted assets, and the shareholders may expect dividend, selling unwanted assets. Okay, now we have to do the justification to this loan. One option here, as we just say now, we have the bank loan. In bank loan, business will need to pay the interest as it is written here, but an alternative could be a retained profit. But the retained profit also, there may not need to repay, but the retained profit may not be sufficient, and in that case it will delay the expansion, to delay the expansion. Now we move to the next question here. Victor is starting up a business as a photographer. He will be a sole trader. Quality control will be important. Victor plans to use sampling when carrying out market research. There are legal controls which could affect his marketing strategy. Victor will employ 5 photographers, and he knows there are many ways to motivate employees. Now, going to question 4A, we have to identify ways legal control could affect the Victor marketing strategy. Now, what way do you think legal control could affect marketing strategy? Of course, the first one is not being able to sell underweight goods. Let's type this out. Not being able to sell underweight good. It's also one of the legal control that could affect the marketing strategy. Not able to sell an underweight goods. The second way that can affect Victor marketing strategy is the increase in cost or time spent on marketing. Increase what? Increase cost or time. Let's try increase cost or time. Of course, that's not all. We still have charge less than minimum price set, goods fit for the purpose, and leading to restriction about where they can sell it. Moving to 4B here, we are told to define quality control. What do you understand by quality control? We have to define this in order to get our full mark. Quality control can be defined. Let's put the text here. Quality control quality control can be defined. Quality control can be defined as the process of checking for quality at the end of the production process. Let's start with this to minimize our space. Let's reduce this. You can define this quality control as this, and you can also say checking the quality of goods through inspection. Now we move to 2C, or rather 4C. I think we are just started. Now we move to 4C. Outline the reason why Victor might use sampling while carrying out marketing research. Why do you think Victor used sampling while carrying out the market research? Now, Victor used sampling because it is cheaper than researching the whole market, which can be important for a startup business. The first point here, we have what? Cheaper. One of the reasons why Victor is using sampling is because it will be cheaper for startup business. It will be cheaper for startup business. Of course, when using sampling to carry out market research, you don't need to chart the whole market, and it will reduce the cost. The second reason is because it is quicker. It is quicker to find out what photography customers really want. Now, it is also quicker as it is cheaper. It is quicker to find out what the photographer customer wants. Now, that is the two reasons why Victor might have used sampling when carrying out his research. Now let's move to question 4D. Explain two disadvantages to factor of operating as a sole trader. Now, what are the disadvantages to Victor while operating a sole trader? Of course, the first one is difficulties in raising capital. Difficult to raise capital. Difficult, let's type. Difficult to raise capital to start the business. And this, let us put the explanation here. It could restrict, let us put the explanation here. This capital that is difficult to raise can restrict growth, of the photograph business, Of course, this photograph is an application of the summary we were given at the beginning of this question. Yes, when the capital is difficult to reach, of course, it can restrict growth, Now, the second disadvantage is unlimited liabilities. And what? Unlimited liability. Of course, the liability will only be bared by Victor, since he is operating a sole business. Unlimited liability. Unlimited liability. Let us write the explanation also. Let's write the explanation. Drag here. His personal, let us see, his personal assets will be at risk. His personal, we are relating to Victor. His personal assets will be at his personal assets will be at risk if he is unable to pay his debts. Yes. That is the unlimited liability. Of course, we also have more disadvantages to this, not just only two, but we're going to mention two. We have him operating as a sole trader. He can have long work hour, and there is no continuity of the business. That is, if the owner dies, the business will close. Now moving to question 4E. Explain two ways a service business will motivate its employees, and which would be the best way to use. Justify your answer. What are the ways in motivating employee? The first way is by giving out bonus. Let us see. Let's type this out. The first way is what? I said we have bonus. How does this bonus motivate an employee? How does this bonus motivate an employee? Of course, employee will try to achieve their target set when they knew they are going to receive bonus at the end of the day. Employee will try to achieve their target sets. Another way to motivate an employee is by giving out commission. By giving out commission to them whenever they sell more than expected. Now let us put this here downward. Commission. Of course, when an employee is being given commission, they will have an incentive to try to sell more products when they knew they are going to receive commission when they sell more. Of course, these are two ways we can motivate an employee, but we still have more. There's also an opportunity for promotion. We also have training so that they will have higher level of skills. We have job rotation that can make work interesting, and so more and so forth. Now, what is your justification on these two ways to motivate the employee? The first one is bonus. Of course, as I said earlier, an employee will try to achieve the target that is set by the business when they know bonus is coming for them at the end of the day. And also the commission, also they will try to sell more in order to receive commission. This brings us to the end of this paper 1 of 2023 February March on business studies. Stay tuned to our website www.eduday.com. See you in our next video.